Good, beautiful morning, everybody. Silas back again today. It's a tiny bit chilly this morning. Hopefully it's going to warm up today. I guess we'll see what happens. I had every intention of making a treasure hunt video today with my new metal detector. I brought it out here with me. I've been watching videos all morning long since early this morning on how to fine tune it because there's a ton of steel out here. Everywhere you look out here. This has been a junkyard forever and I wanted to be able to set it right. So I watched a bunch of videos. I thought I knew what I was doing. I get out here and Mother Nature threw me a curveball and it's way colder than it was supposed to be. And the ground is frozen, so I can't dig any holes. I found something that has a promising signal to it and I can't dig it up. So I marked the spot and I just stopped there. Maybe this afternoon, if things warm up a little bit, I can come back and do it some more. But if not, we'll worry about that another day. So instead, I figured today is the perfect opportunity to show you guys that really cool car I promised you I'd show you. It's a really neat car, and the thing that's inside the car is even cooler than the car. So I figured today's a good opportunity for that. But in addition to that, I sold 3 cars. 2 people are coming today to pick up theirs, and one of them had to cancel. They're going to be here Monday, so I guess we'll worry about that on Monday. But there are 2 people on their way to pick up some cars, so I'll show you those real quick. Here's the first one here. This old dirt track car. He bought that 3-wheeler as well that we drug out of that barn. I was just going to pull the lead out of this car. These old dirt track cars are always full of lead. All that's lead there. There's more up in there, and I believe there's some more elsewhere on the car. They did that just to give them some weight, that way they wouldn't spin out on the rear end going around the dirt track. Well, I was going to pull the lead out of it, and then I was going to make a crushing or a claw video out of this or something like that. I was going to see how tough that top really is. But he wants to buy the whole car, so I'm happy to go to a new home. Anytime I can save an old car, I like to save them. Unfortunately, it's just not always possible to save everything because we get so many cars and I'm constantly running out of room. I can't save them all, but this one here did get saved. So he's going to be here shortly. He's actually starting a YouTube channel. He hasn't got it going yet. He's just been working on creating content for it. As soon as he gets it going, I will let you guys know. He's a really cool guy, him and his brother, and they do a lot of neat stuff. So I think you guys will enjoy that. So as soon as that's going, like I said, I'll let you know. This week we were supposed to chop some cabs off as well. Like that cabin front clip is sold off that old International over there. And I believe one of these others out here is sold as well. We were going to lift those off, but man, they're talking some serious cold weather coming in, so I don't think we're going to be doing that. And here's the car I wanted to show you guys. You guys ready? You're going to be blown away when you see this. It's a 2003 Ford Taurus. No, I'm kidding. That's not the car. Just a joke. Don't stone me. I just wanted to show you this real quick though. This came in for scrap. It's got a real nice wall hanger tailgate on it. Other than that, this thing's going to the shredder on Monday. No, actually, I believe the guy's here to get that dirt track car, so we're going to get that loaded up, and then I'll show you that other car here in a little bit. It's actually kind of chilly. I've only been filming for about 5 minutes now, and my fingers are frozen, so I don't feel like filming that car because I really want to be able to take my time and show you that car, and I don't want to have to rush through just because it's cold. So I'll wait till it warms up a little bit. I'm going to be here all day anyway, so there's no rush. Yeah, he's here now. He's driving in. I just noticed my ground is starting to thaw out a little bit. The very top of it out in the sun is thawing out. Down beneath that though, it's still pretty frozen, so maybe here in about 3 or 4 hours I'll actually be able to dig. We got it loaded up. We got a bunch of old Willie's parts over here in this trailer house that I found the other day. He's going to buy those as well, so we're going to stack those inside the car and his truck wherever we can stash them. And there they are, not much, just a couple fenders and a hood and a core support. Alright, they're headed back out to western Kansas where they're from. I think what they're going to do is they bought an old Camaro, early 70s Camaro. I think it was a 70 or 71. I could be off on that. I can't remember now. It's been a number of years. But they bought it from me here a while back, a couple years ago. And they're going to take the body off of it and they're going to put on that dirt track car. And they're going to modify the cage in it a little bit, make it a little bit better. But just a fun project for them to do, I guess. They want to make a video of it. Just a fun toy to play with. Then after they left, a guy came in, he saw me out here and heard I had some old cars out here. So he stopped in and wanted to look around, so I took him around and he picked out that Barracuda. So I'm pretty sure he's going to buy that Barracuda I've got over there. I'm not sure he wanted it, or I've got that 50 Ford shoebox. He may buy it instead. He doesn't know which one he wants. He's going to talk it over with his son and get back with me later this week. So that's pretty cool, saving some old cars, new homes that'll appreciate them and do something with them. So I'm always excited to see that happen. And here's the other car that they're here for. They said they'll be here sometime this afternoon for it. Looks like one of the tires went flat on it. I got to see if I can get that aired up for them. Three of the tires went flat. That one came off the rim. It has quote-unquote brand new tires, but the car sat for several years before I got it, and then I've had it sitting for almost a year now. Sneak preview, I got my metal detector back out, and I found that spot again, and the ground was still a little bit frozen, but I was able to chisel through it and find what was in that hole, and didn't have my camera going. Kind of a dumb thing. I should have had my camera going, but what was at the bottom of that hole was pretty cool. Really cool. That's my first find ever, and it's a really cool find, so I'm excited for that. I didn't dig it up the rest of the way though. I want to wait till the ground thaws out a little bit more, and then I want to make a separate video of that, and that will probably be the video that comes out after the one that you're watching now, so stay tuned for that. I'm still waiting on the people to come get the Datsun. They called and they said they won't be here for probably another 1 to 2 hours or so, so I guess now is as good a time as any to show you guys this car. And not only that, but I want to show you guys what's inside the car. Drum roll, please. It is a 1955 Dodge. And you're saying, Silas, come on, that's pretty lame. Why are you all excited about a 1955 Dodge? Just hold up for a second. These are a pretty cool car on their own. I do have the bumpers for it. I have the missing pieces for it. The guy started taking it apart. He had this stored in a barn for many years, and they were always going to fix it, and that never happened. Check this out though. You got to check out what's under the hood. It's got a Super Red Ram Hemi in it. That is pretty cool, and it still turns. I put a bar on it, turns over good. They've taken the carburetor off and they put a plate on it. They plan on pulling the engine out. Like I said, they were going to build this car into a pretty hot car. I'll explain that more in a minute when you see what's inside it. Now, I know my title on this is going to say Barn Find, and you're going to say that's not in a barn. It was in a barn up until I got it. I didn't go get the car. A guy brought it to me, so I was not able to film it in its original resting spot. But this is in fact a barn find. It was last tagged in 1972. So it's been sitting quite a while. It's got some rust in it. It's got some body issues. I don't know that the whole car may or may not be worth saving. I think it's pretty neat. I would think it's worth saving, but I'll let the customers decide that. Whether it gets chopped up, whether it gets parted out, whatever happens to it is up to whoever spends the money. It's got some radiators inside it. It's got the hubcaps inside it. It's got the missing taillight inside it. It's got all sorts of cool stuff in here. These radiators, one of these does not go to this car, so I'm not sure why they're both in here, but that's okay. That's just a bonus. Scrap copper. There's an old Ford heater for some reason in here. But check this out. This is pretty cool. If I can get to it. That's pretty neat there. It's just an old sticker that says Dodge on it. I'm sure they were going to put that in the window when they got the car built. Somebody had a lot of hopes and dreams for this thing. It's kind of sad that it never did get done, but if it would have got done, I probably would have never got the car. Whew, it's a heavy old trunk lid. The only thing it is missing is it's missing the taillights. I have the panel that goes on that side, but I don't have the actual taillights. So that's unfortunate, but at least the rest of it's here. I believe most of the chrome is inside it. I think all the glass is good. It had a bunch of dirt on it from being stored inside. It's starting to clear up a little bit now. I've had it sitting outside for about 2 weeks. But yeah, it looks like all the glass is good. Really, I think this car is probably buildable. It needs new quarter panels, new rocker panels. It probably needs a little bit of floor work, but that's about typical. You don't find a 1955 rust-free car anymore. A lot of people will come out here and want to buy a car from me, and I think this is a local thing, because when people come from out of state, they don't usually care. But a lot of times local people will look at a car and they'll say, oh, it's got rust in the rocker panels. It's a 70 or 80-year-old car. I'm not sure what people expect sometimes. I think sometimes people think it's still 1980, and you can go out to a farmer's field and find a rust-free car that just needs a new battery and some fresh gas, and they can drive it home for $200. The world doesn't work quite like that anymore. But check out the dash in this car. That dash is just so cool. And check out the shifter on this thing. The style on these old cars. It's got it in neutral now, but doesn't have park on these old cars. Just reverse, neutral, drive, and low. You set the emergency brake in neutral when you don't want it to roll. Check that out. It is missing the radio. The radio is gone. But even like this glove box has really cool style to it. Some miscellaneous fuses. I don't know. I haven't really looked in here. What do we got here? Oh, just some old matches. Flash. Huh. KT Oil Corporation, El Dorado, Kansas. Yeah, this is a Kansas car. It's spent its whole life in Kansas, I believe. It's got the old oil change on here. Can't quite read what it says. Andy's Fina Service. Not sure. 620 North Main. I can't quite read when everything was due. Looks like Sinclair. But the date is faded off. That's about where I was trying to see when this car... I mean, obviously it was last tagged in 1972, but that doesn't mean it was actually driven in 1972. Sometimes people will keep tagging their car even though it's parked in the garage. Yeah, it still has the old things hanging from the mirror. It's got all the interior in it still. All needs redone, but it's still neat. I gotta be really careful not to show what's in the back seat. But it's all still pretty well here. You can tell it's had some rats in it, but it's not too terrible. I've seen way worse. Even has the original floor mats on it still. Just all sorts of neat stuff in this car. This is just a really cool car. I've always liked these. There we go. I got the cool stuff moved to the front seat now. But there's the splash panels, bunches of chrome, bunches more chrome. I think just about everything for the car is here, and there actually could be the taillights down in here somewhere as well. I don't know. I haven't gone through it all. There's the door sill guards. So that's a pretty complete car. So part of me really does not want to cut this car up or part it out. I'd really like to see it go to a new home just like it sits. I'll show you what I found in the car here in just a minute, but they're here to get that Datsun now. So we're going to take care of this, and then we'll check out the cool stuff that I found. Headed back to California. So he's going to get it going, drive it just like it is. So now I'll go over here, and finally you guys are going to get to see what I found in that car. Now I'm going to warn you up front, I didn't find a suitcase full of cash. I didn't find a box full of gold jewelry, nothing like that. If you're not a car person, you're probably going to think this is pretty lame. But if you are a car person, this is going to be pretty cool, especially if you're into old school hot rod stuff. And there it is. Now some of you that don't know anything about old cars and old performance parts are probably looking at that saying that's a pile of rusty junk, throw that in the scrap. But if you know what that is, then you know what that is. What this is a fuel injection setup. I believe it's Hilbrand, something like that. I believe it's marked on the side of here is the brand name. It's all been taken apart and he's put back together, but he was going to put this on this car, and all of this stuff here is for these old Hemis. All this is made to bolt on these old Hemi engines. And so I have never seen this setup. I've seen this setup for, you know, small block Chevys and stuff like that, but I've never seen it for an old Hemi. And I've even seen this type of setup maybe on the 426 Hemi, but for the old style Hemi, they just didn't make a whole lot of performance parts. Or they did, but they're just really uncommon because it was a really old school hot rod type thing. And so to be able to find all this, it's missing one of these. I'm hoping it's buried in the stuff in the back seat. It's missing a couple little pieces, but there's enough of it here I think a guy could piece together the rest of it using other setups and get it all going. But it's got the timing cover. Now this is a Howard brand here, but it's got the pump on it. I mean, it's got the whole 9 yards here. Most of the hard to find stuff is here. And like I say, I think the rest of it is going to be in the back seat, but that is just an amazing find to me. I was not expecting, when I first got this car, I bought it off some pictures he sent me, and I said, I guess I made him an offer on it, and at first he didn't go for it, but then he's like, you know what, you buy a lot of stuff from me, I'll just take it. That way it's quick sell, I don't have to worry about it. He brought me the car. I priced it kind of high. I was kind of worried. I was worried I wouldn't be able to sell anything off of it. I was worried the engine would be stuck. I didn't really know if I was paying too much or not. But the engine still turns, so that's going to work out. And then I found this stuff in here, and I got in here after he left, and I'm looking through here, and there was only one of these laying in the front seat. I think it was this one here, and two of these are off of it. And I'm like, what is this? And I wasn't really thinking, and I thought maybe it was off a motorcycle or something like that. I wasn't really thinking clearly on it. You know, I was just digging through the car. I wasn't really expecting to find this in here. And then I found the other one, and then I found this, and then I found that, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, I know what that is. I just never seen one that wasn't actually nice and on the engine of a car. So this is a very, very cool thing. And you know, honestly, I probably don't want to sell this setup here, so you don't have to ask me how much. I have some very rare and some very cool old MOPAR intakes. I've got some dual quad intakes. I've got probably my rarest MOPAR intake I have right now is actually a 4-barrel poly 318 intake. And you say that's not rare, but it is very rare to find an original cast iron poly intake 4-barrel. They're almost all 2 barrels or dual quads. It's very rare to find an original 4-barrel. But anyway, I've got that, and I've got a high performance 318 Magnum intake, carbureted intake, and I've got some other things that are worth quite a bit of money, but I just, you know, I kind of like old MOPAR stuff. And so what I'm going to do with these here is try to kind of halfway put it back together and clean it up a little bit, polish it up, and I'm just going to use it for a display piece. If I ever do decide to sell all this, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But for the time being, the stuff is not for sale. Now the rest of the car, I would sell the rest of the car. Like I say, it's got this 270. That's the size of this engine here. It's a 270 Super Red Ram engine. It turns over good. I do not have the carburetor for it. It's got the old teardrop hood scoop on it. That's kind of neat, but it's got some rust here and there, and it's not perfect by any means, but it's mostly here. It's probably 95% complete, and these are getting pretty uncommon, these old Dodges. It's a 1955 model. I did not get the title. It's been sitting in a barn obviously since 1972. Nobody could find the paperwork, so I'd have to sell it on a bill of sale. If somebody wanted the whole car with the engine, I'd probably take like $22.50 for the whole thing, just like it sits. If it doesn't sell fairly quickly, I probably am going to go ahead and pull the engine and sell that by itself. I'll probably get it out, clean it up, try to find a carburetor for it, and I'll have my buddy Sean see if he can get it running. If I can find a carb for it. If I can't find a carb, it is a 4-barrel. But if I can't find a carb, then I'll probably just have to sell it as a turning core. If I sell just the engine, I'm probably going to ask about $1,500 for it. You know, really, I would like to see this car go to a new home where somebody could appreciate it. I do have the bumpers for it. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I have the bumpers. They're up front. I think it's a buildable car. And I know I'm going to have that commenter that says, I saw one of these sitting somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and they only wanted $500 for it. And that's fantastic. I'm glad you saw that. I hope you bought it. But that's the price I have to get out of this car to be able to make it worth my time of buying it and all the time I'd have to spend helping load it and sell it and that sort of stuff. If I can't get that much out of it, then I'm just going to part it out, and it'll bring way more than that, parting it out and cutting it up. So that's my don't make me cut this up price. But yeah, that is just so cool. And when I realized what that was, and then at first I didn't think it was actually for this car once I realized what it was, but once I actually ran the numbers on it and realized it is in fact for this car, that just really blew me away. I've never had any old Hemi performance parts. That's definitely the coolest thing that I've found, on a personal level at least, this year so far. And I know it's only 2 months into the year, so who knows what else we're going to find, but you guys know me, I find a lot of cool stuff. So for me to say that's my favorite thing, and that probably I'm not going to be able to beat that all year long. It'd take something really cool to beat that. Kind of a shame. I thought I had this car here sold. I may have mentioned this before, I can't remember. I don't remember mentioning it, but I thought I had it sold, and it's got some rust in the quarters and the fenders here and there on the sides. And I thought, well, you know, it's once again, it's an old car. It's a 64. It's a pretty old car. And I thought somebody will want to fix it. I found a guy that did want to fix it. I lifted it up in the air to check underneath, and the floors are actually somewhat solid, but the frame is completely rotted out in this thing. I mean, it's rotted bad. I've never seen one rotted that bad, especially considering the rest of the car really isn't rotted that bad. So I don't know what happened with that frame. It must have just got packed full of something. So unfortunately, that one is no longer sold. It does have a ton of good parts though. The V8 car. It's got the AC under the dash, period correct. It's got a lot of good parts in it. Automatic. It's not a tilt column. I wish it was a tilt column. I have had a 64 Impala with a tilt column before. It's clear full of just junk. Oh, this is pretty cool. Let's see who knows what this is. It's probably a giveaway because it has all the cables on it. But if you think you know what that is, let me know in the comments. Looks like this one here is a Pontiac. I've got a bunch out of Mercury's that I've sold online before, and they usually sell pretty good, so I never even noticed this in here. I need to get that out of here and sell it. Those are worth pretty good money usually. I guess I better go ahead and say what it is for those that don't know what it is and don't want to look it up. That's a cruise control module. I say module, it's not really a module, that's just the controller. With the cables right here, this is where your, is this the speedometer end? Or this is the end that runs to your transmission, I think. And then the speedometer end would have run in there. That way when you turn on your cruise control, this is how it all worked. Now this one's got the vacuum pod on it. It's got the whole 9 yards with it. Probably needs rebuilt, but still, those are kind of hard to find. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the loader back out back, park it so I can use it again another day. Here's that Barracuda I mentioned that I believe is sold. I hope it's sold. This is a really cool car. I'd hate to have to part this thing out and chop it up. It's got the bucket seats, the console. Pretty cool car. It's pretty rough. Ooh, that's loud. Quarter panels are rotted out pretty bad, so it's going to need new quarter panels, but they make those brand new. I've got 2 good doors that go with it. The fenders do have a little bit of rust up on top, but that's repairable. And I do have a good trunk lid that goes with it as well, because this trunk lid is rusted out pretty bad over here on the side and on the bottom lip there. So I've got a good trunk lid. I've got good doors. I don't have some of the trim that's missing, but still I think some of the trim is inside it. The floors are pretty solid, just a little bit of rust in them. I think it's a very buildable car, especially if a person wanted to build just something to take to the drag strip or something like that. This would make a really good car for that. Or if you just wanted a budget build and you didn't really care about fixing too much rust, you could put those parts I've got on it, replace the quarter panels, slap some paint on it, just take all the chrome off of it so there's no chrome at all on it, and you can make a nice little just car to cruise around in. The worst thing is I do not have the grill for it. Person have to find a grill for it. And last but not least, this is the one that they're coming after Monday. They were going to come get it today, but where they're from, they still have quite a bit of snow on the ground, so they wanted to wait till their snow was gone. That way they can get it home and get it unloaded without having to deal with snow. So they're going to go up here on Monday and grab that. I really didn't want to sell that one, but it's going to a good home. Who knows when I would do something with it. I was going to take it and park it in the barn, but you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and let it go to a new home. I've got an 81 that looks just like that, just a different color, and I like it a little bit better, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it and build it, and then this one here can go to its new home. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go with that. I know this wasn't a very long one. You know, sometimes it's kind of hard to make those 30-minute videos. Unless there's a whole lot going on, it's a little bit difficult for me sometimes. But I thought this one was pretty short and sweet and to the point and pretty interesting, and I kind of like to try to keep them that way. Sometimes those 30-minute ones have a little bit of fluff in them, and that's okay for the people that you want to watch a 30-minute video. Sometimes I want to watch a 30-minute video, so I don't mind a little bit of fluff. But this one here's for the folks that don't want to spend 30 minutes. They just want to spend 15 minutes or however long it ends up being. If you enjoyed this one, please give me a thumbs up. You never know what I'm going to find next, so if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. My email to buy is in the description. It's buy.amfs@gmail.com. There'll be a link for that. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there and find an adventure. We'll see you next time.